Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne's Sharp World, where today we have another episode brought to you guys by Blade Apps. Be sure to look them up for all of your knife and EDC needs. And today we're taking a look at a pretty special piece coming out of Boker. This is none other than the Boker M4 Sherman. Now, before we go any further into this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length coming in at 7.01 inches, a blade length coming in at 2.95 inches, and a blade thickness of 144 thousandths. Blade material on this guy, if you didn't already see it, Magna cut steel, always nice to see there. Drop point style blade, really, it's not a drop point, that's a clip point style blade. A flat grind with a handle length coming in at 4.06 inches, and a handle thickness at 458 thousandths. Handle material on this guy is a very nice slab of carbon fiber on one side and a titanium frame lock on the other, with, of course, that frame lock locking mechanism, a user of a right hand only tip-up carry. We are looking at a weight at 3.35 ounces and a price pretty steep, $362.95. Now, there's a special little thing about this knife that I think adds to a lot of the price. Unfortunately, this knife has some significant issues that we're going to have to address in this video because it's not exactly a home run. We'll put it that way. But first, let's take a look at some size comparisons real quick, put it into better perspective with some other knives. Here we have a great size comparison for it and a very nice knife, the Giant Mouse Ace Atelier, I believe that is. And what else do we got here? Let's pull this out. Here we have your CJRB Pyrite with the Warney blade. So there's those two. Let's pull in two more. Why not? Why not? Here is the Kaiser Escort. And one more just for good measure. Let's go with this guy right here. It's good old Hogue Deca. So it is somewhat of a smaller knife. Definitely not nearly as long as a lot of the other ones I brought out on the table, but I think that will at least put it into perspective for you. And now we can get to talking about this knife because I was really hoping this would be a knife I could really get behind because I like a lot of things about this knife. This did come from the Solingen plant in Germany, I believe. Maybe Sarah. Yeah, there it is. Boker Solingen. I'm pretty sure I did not pronounce that right, so my apologies. But yeah, so coming from Germany, you don't have the Chinese label on it, which some people really like. But the blade, let's start with the blade, because the blade itself is actually by far and away the nicest part of this knife. It's not perfect, but it's definitely my favorite part of this knife. Behind the edge reading of 15 thousandths with a very nice high flat grind. So this is going to be a very slicey knife. Very, very nice cutting geometry. I like what they did there. Unfortunately, the plunge grind down here is a little sketchy. Not exactly the best plunge grind for that much money. You would kind of like to see that because I think you'll most likely definitely be getting a little bit of a smile towards the very back there. Unless you're a really good sharper, and you might be able to avoid that. But it is overall a really nice blade in terms of cutting geometry and aesthetics. I really like what they did there. Very minimal branding. I like that Magna cut at the top there. I like the font too. That looks really good. But yeah, and then the Boker symbol on there. Attractive blade. Really is an attractive blade. The thumb studs are really one of the only ways to kick this blade out, unfortunately. And it's really just the front one. The front thumb stud, which is for your regular thumb to deploy, actually works very nice. But when you get into the flipper, you can do it. You kind of got to really flip it hard. And then the reverse flick you can do as well. You kind of have an issue because it's kind of a bigger thumb stud, so you kind of feel it a little on your finger as the blade kicks out. But that's one of the smaller problems with this knife. For as much good stuff's going on with the blade, there's some real problems with the handle, and it's 100% all on this side, right up around this area here. So first of all, there's very, very little. There's no chamfering really. I mean, this is a sharp edge. It does not feel good. And then this area right in here, the top of the frame lock, that will like easily cut you, scratch you. It's not comfortable. I wouldn't call it dangerous because it's not going to give you a bad cut by any means, but it will poke you. It will, if you have dry skin, it will catch it. I mean, it's kind of, yeah, it's not good. It catches you really good. And for a knife this expensive, this is where the devil's in the details. You got to take care of that chamfering. I mean, this is almost, almost feels serrated in some parts. It's just, yeah, not a real good job of final finish there, especially up here on the lock bar itself. As you can see, that white stuff, that was actually part of my skin that kind of was scraping off on. So not exactly the best there. The pocket clip's okay. Doesn't exactly carry, not exactly a deep carry knife. So yeah, you're gonna have that much sticking out, which isn't really a huge deal. I don't really see any issue with that. Some people would. But the clip looks nice. It just, yeah, kind of is there. And then you also have some really bad lock stick. Like, listen to it. It's bad lock stick. Yeah, it's really bad lock stick. So that's always really disappointing. To me, that's one of the most annoying things you can get on a knife is lock stick like that. And it is really kind of a shame because the overall, like, I like the lines of this knife. I like the design. I like how it looks. The carbon fiber is very nice. They got kind of a little mild textured finish on there. No flaws in it. So it's really nice carbon fiber. And then back here, you have Chad Nichols Damascus backspacer with M4 Sherman tank treads used in the steel. So that's pretty cool. It's definitely the more historical aspect that I'm sure plays a significant factor into the price of this knife. These backspacers alone were probably pretty expensive. So personally, I would kind of just rather not see this backspacer on there at all, especially not being Damascus, made by Chad Nichols, who is an incredibly renowned figure in the Damascus industry, and used from M4 Sherman tank treads. That's like a combination for the most expensive thing you can put on this knife. So that really adds to the price a lot. I think that's unnecessary. And then I also think that just the overall fit and finish and execution just isn't really full circle for me. And the action is very mediocre at best. Like I said, thumb flicking action is pretty good, but everything else is just, to be honest, I don't even like deploying it because once you deploy it, that means you have to mess with this lock bar, which also is not chamfered well, which also has kind of a very acute angle here. There is some beveling there, but even the front line there, you just feel it. And then you get this. It's just, it's a no for me. It's just not enjoyable. You know, when you spend $363 basically on a knife, you better enjoy every second of it because you should. For that much money, you really, really should. And I just don't. Yeah. So it's got some good, the thumb studs make it bearable in terms of deploying it. It's pretty nice. The flipper itself, it doesn't, like, you definitely can't just push button the blade out. And some of it is like putting some pressure on the frame lock. That's kind of hard not to do, but even when you do, it's still just okay action. So yeah, this knife had a lot of potential, and it just comes up way short for me in terms of the fit and finish aspect. And it's really just those little things. Like, this little lock bar up here catching my finger is huge. This is matte. That was actually the softest one we've had throughout the video. Any type of decent flick, and you have significant stick. So yeah, it's just not up to par for a $363 knife. It has some cool history into it. It has a very nice design. I really do like the design. Boker just really needs to go back to the drawing board and take a look at their fit and finish and just the final products they're putting out on the line, because they have great designs. They have good ideas. They gotta find that devil in all the details and really have everything come full circle. And when they do, and I think they probably will eventually, because I like Boker as a whole. I think they have some pretty good knives from time to time. It's just always been consistency and fit and finish and full execution from them. So I hope they continue to get better, because this knife had a lot of potential, but as it is right now, yeah, it's definitely not something I can really get behind or recommend because of the issues it has. So that being said, let me know what you guys think. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.